princes, princesses, counts, swordmasters, skilled peasants, and androids. After a journey of 81 videos over 36 episodes, I'm allowed a rest of 50 years. But I'll defer. This is episode 37 of the Dudley Simpson is Doctor Who project. For this episode, we skip ahead in season 16 to find the fourth segment of the Key to Time, and we'll find it in The Androids of Tara. This story is a Who-ized adaptation of the British late 19th century adventure novel The Prisoner of Zenda, mixing medieval swashbuckling and royal intrigue with android technology. Simpson takes his cue from the story and gives the harpsichord a prominent musical role. The Doctor and Romana land on Tara, but he couldn't be less interested in the segment and decides he deserves a day off to go fishing. Annoyed but determined, Romana goes off into the woods on her own, and before long the tracer actually locates and converts the segment. Before she can return, she is attacked by a hairy beast, but just as suddenly, the beast is repelled by a knight wielding an electrified sword. This knight, Count Grendel of Gracht, takes an extraordinary interest in both Romana and her strange stone, the segment. With her ankle injured, the Count insists on taking her to his castle and gallantly carries her to a beautiful white steed. They ride off through the woods, eventually reaching the castle. Accompanying these horse-riding scenes is a jolly tune with the harpsichord in the lead. Mount your favorite charger and enjoy Tara on Horseback. The use of the harpsichord naturally gives the Androids of Tara score a distinctive period flavor. The scores of season 16 are richer generally, with Simpson using ensembles of 9 musicians in some cases, the most he would ever use. His ensemble for Tara includes his usuals, horns, clarinets, keyboards, and percussion, but also includes cello and possibly bass as well. Our music on Horseback begins with a suspenseful chromatic passage while the camera pans down from the wood's canopy to a grassy clearing. Throughout, the harpsichord has a sound of doubled octaves, which is a natural capability of the instrument. Obviously, with an accompaniment to play as well, it was rare that I could actually imitate that sound, but this introduction is one spot. Starting on E natural, the harpsichord slithers down in 3 sets of 3 notes. A starting note, a chromatic neighbor below, and the starting note again. Each new set begins a half step lower, and then the same 3 sets are repeated 1 octave lower. The harmony underneath copies the harpsichord's note while joining it with a constant E natural, creating a clustered effect. The effect is compounded as, during the repeat of the idea, the harmony thickens with more chromatic notes. This makes for an uncertain start to the piece. Then, on horseback, Romana and Grendel appear, and the music makes a sudden metric modulation from duple to triple time, exposing the introduction as a kind of musical deception. As we've heard in a few recent pieces, each measure of 3 beats is 1 second long. The horn ensemble sets the new tempo with 2 B-flat-7, flat-5 chords, and from there the piece begins to trot. The harmony is firmly supplied by the horn ensemble that clearly delineates this new 3/4 rhythm. The melody of virtually the entire piece can be distilled from the first 2 measures we hear. First, a 5-finger exercise. The melody rises up in a scalar fashion from thumb to pinky finger. This is not as easy as it might seem because the musculature of our fingers works more naturally moving towards the thumb rather than away from it. Try it. It's not quite as smooth that way as this. Even for me. Either way, an even and clear scale sound is a fundamental skill for any pianist. And that's just the first beat. The remainder of this 2-measure phrase is made of an arpeggiation of the harmony. So the melody outlines an A major triad, then a G major triad. This movement from a tonic chord to the major chord a whole step down is indicative of the Mixolydian mode, which is basically a major scale with the 7th degree a half step lower. The entire first phrase, 8 measures long, is in A Mixolydian, and you can hear, combined with the jaunty rhythm, these harmonies give the music a medieval or Renaissance music flavor. The last 2 measures of the phrase give a rhythmic kick to its conclusion, as suddenly the 3 beats are divided in 2 beats instead. The harmony drops further, still in A Mixolydian. The next phrase shifts higher up to C Mixolydian, but is almost an exact transposition of the original phrase, save for a few additional melody notes. Another important difference is that the harmony breaks out of Mixolydian in the final measure and lands on the dominant of C, G major, rather than minor from Mixolydian. The next longer phrase, although keeping the melodic structures intact, contrasts with the previous 2 sections. Here, the harmony bounces from minor chord to minor chord, having no key or scale relationship with each other. For example, the first phrase's minor chords are a half step apart. After they repeat, the next pair are a minor third away from each other, and the next pair a major third away from each other. A final 4-measure phrase's harmonies are a minor third away once again. All this bouncing gives the section a possibly humorous, possibly dangerous feeling. Because I was anxious to keep the harpsichord music front and center, music from the next scene is edited out of my arrangement. Here, underscored by the horn ensemble alone, Grendel stops the horse so they may survey Castle Gracht, and he explains how beautiful and escape-proof it is. As they ride on to the castle, the harpsichord music resumes, and so does my arrangement. All hands in the castle jump to it as their lord and master arrives. Here, we get a new version of the original melody in D Mixolydian. As the castle gates slowly open, the accented 2-beat rhythms take over, cutting off the last measure of the phrase. Jumping down to D sharp minor, the harmony leaps up in successive minor thirds, ending up an octave higher. From there, the final harmony, despite being another parallel minor leap up a major third to G minor, resolves quite smoothly. The next few seconds of the program's music, some threatening horn chords, aren't in my arrangement either. I preferred to conclude this section with the harpsichord's serenade of the gates closing, and we dismount our horse. The arpeggiated chords, D minor, make it sound like the piece is slowing down. But actually, there are 2 extra beats added before the music resumes the 3/4 time. From D minor through A minor, the final resolution is to a brighter D major, delayed slightly by the A minor chord, suspending that resolution by 1 beat. Although technically this is the end of the horse riding music, the original jaunty theme is reprised in part 2 for a scene where the Doctor, Zadek, Farah, and the android copy of Prince Reinhardt are heading through the woods towards a secret passage. Naturally, this music made the perfect coda to the arrangement. The reprise is in fact a compacted version of the opening phrases. Restarting with A mixolydian, we hear the last 4 measures of this and the C mixolydian passage. We even get the first measure of the 3rd contrasting segment before the true coda is heard. A noticeable variation in this reprise is a new counter line by the bass clarinet, which subtly alters the harmony of the 2nd measure of each phrase. The best way for me to represent this line was for the left hand to abandon the accompaniment rhythms of earlier and keep it simple. A few notes of this counterline must be passed to the right hand. The F minor chord, recalling the contrasting segment earlier, proves to be a false start, as the harmony shifts a whole step down. Then, reminiscent of the gate closing harmony, we resolve to F major rather than minor. We come to rest after a final cadence through the minor 4, B flat minor, to F major. The hands arpeggiate these chords in a final homage to the harpsichord. Whoa, Concord, whoa! Good boy. I hope you enjoyed our outing through the woods of Tara, episode 37 of the Dudley Simpson Is Doctor Who project. I'm really looking forward to the next 3 pieces, the culmination of my original 18 months of work. First up, the final movement of the Doctor's theme. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. See you then.